Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another recap of 90 Day Fiancé. This is season 7, episode 2, They Don't Know. You guys, this was a weird episode because I got to see a side of a lot of the people that I had so much faith in. I got to see a different side of them in this episode, and now I'm like, do I have faith in these people? Am I on their side anymore? I don't know. Let's jump right into this episode. First couple that we're going to talk about is Tania and Syngin. I think I've officially decided that Tania is a little bit of a nutball. Now, I know that the nuttiness comes from having some kind of major anxiety, but that, I don't care if it comes from anxiety. That kind of anxious behavior gives me anxiety. Tania planned every moment of Syngin coming to the US down to a T, involving her friends. Personally, if you're bringing somebody new to this country, I would have definitely had somebody there that he knew. Example, he already knows her mother and her sister. So why weren't her mother and her sister there? Why wasn't there an exit plan for the friends to leave so that Tania and Syngin could spend some time alone? It seems to me that Tania planned this whole 6-hour event with a 2-hour break in the middle. Let me get my fan because I'm already hot. We have Tania and her homegirls on their way to the airport to pick up Syngin, and they are late, and Tania's freaking out. He's landed 10 minutes ago, and she wanted to be there, to wait there for an hour and a half for him to get through customs. Like, does anybody recognize how long it takes to get through customs? If their plane lands, that's when you should leave, because that's how long it takes a foreigner sometimes to get through customs, girl. After he gets off the airplane, it can easily be an hour or more at customs, okay? So she's freaking out for no reason. She gets there and she decides that she is just going to like litter the floor with petals for this man, this grown man. And the poor man whose job is to come around and sweep and keep things clean comes up and starts to sweep. He's like, my boss say no good. And she's like, no, you can wait 2 minutes. And I'm like, girl, his boss said no good. So Tania starts this giggle fest like she has never spent time with Syngin. She is giggling and overwhelmed in a way that is just so annoying. It's like they just looped the sound of her giggling over and over again to where we just could not escape it. And it was just like in my dreams. Stop. I guess the whole plan in her mind was that he was gonna walk up on the roses of petals, like he's Prince Akeem and the rose bearers. Why should I not walk upon the petals of roses? And he's surprised to see that she's done all this work too. He runs up to her, doesn't pick her up. It seems like he should because he's so much taller than her that he could just like grab her and lift, but he just like jumps on her and she's giggling. Pop the bottle, pop the bottle. And the friend's like, oh, okay, you try. Because she couldn't get it. And finally she got it. It wasn't probably loud enough. I would not be surprised if Tania had a list of notes to give her friends about what they did wrong and what they will do better next time she brings somebody to the US. So they get to the hotel and Syngin is like, okay, ladies, thanks, bye. And the girls are like, oh, you're kicking us out? And he's like, yeah, I would like to A, shower, B, have sex with my lady, and C, like chill. I just got off of like a 24-hour flight. They leave. They tell the cameras that Tania has made plans for them to come back in exactly 2 hours. How is it that she has decided that 2 hours is enough to add in cuddle time, unpack time, and shower time? Like, what? 2 hours is not enough. The plan should have been, hey, you guys go and do whatever and I'll call you when we're ready. But you know what it is? They don't live there. So it's not like they could just like go home or go shopping or something. Like, girl, this is too much. If that were me, I'm like, Tania, I can only be there for the beginning. I can't be there for the after. Like I can do one of the segments. So like I can either be there with you at the airport when you pick him up, or I can be there after you guys are ready to go see Times Square. Like you need to choose because you cannot have my whole day. Syngin is talking to her after they've already had their cuddle time and the cameras are back in their room. Syngin is talking to her about possibly getting some alone time at some point. And right when he's about to say it, there's a knock on the door and the homegirls come and she's just like, yeah, great. Okay, let's go. We're going to put a blindfold on you. So she like blindfolds him. And I mean, did they get on the subway or did they just get in an Uber? I'm assuming they just got in an Uber. And also they wanted to shout out that hotel, the Times. Okay, you guys going to visit New York? Go to the Times. They get to Times Square. She's really bad at giving him directions on what to do. And then she like has him standing there with holding her handbag blindfolded while he's just like in the TKTS area. And then her and her friend like set up a banner. They're all holding it. They have American flags and South African flags. And he opens his eyes and she's like, thank you so much for coming to the US and moving halfway across the world, sugar. Spelled wrong. Sugar. Like, whoever made that banner does not know how to spell sugar. It's either the person who wrote what was going to be on the banner or the banner maker, because it said S-U-G-E-R and not S-U-G-A-R. Just the little things I noticed. And you also know what a little thing I noticed was that Syngin's elbows were ashy. And it's always so shocking to me when I can see ash through a camera lens on a person with less melanin than me, because that means that you're really dry. So Syngin then has his little confessional moment where he says, I'm just a guy from the bush and now I've been transplanted into the concrete jungle. That is the only way I can get out a semblance of that accent, is by making my face that way and doing my arms that way. I'm sorry, you guys. Oh, also, they have gin shots and Red Bull. Like, I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it's a thing. Gin shots and Red Bull? Okay. So the next couple that we're going to talk about is Michael and Juliana. All right, this was an interesting segment to watch because I was on Michael's side and all of a sudden now I'm not, because he says some really awkward, disgusting things that we have to talk about. First, we have to talk about the terrible music that they use for Michael. It's like they want to continuously show him and that Porsche. We get it. He has a Porsche. Like, so he's going to the jeweler to get her some jewelry because he feels like she's just had such a tough go at this visa process. And like, he needs to show her that he loves her. She deserves it. It's been so hard. I wonder if his ex-wife got jewelry because she was stressed out. Like, did he give her pregnancy like rings? Like, she get like a pregnancy necklace or a pregnancy brooch? Oh, my wife just birthed a baby. I'm gonna give her a car. You know, I would love that. And I think it's fantastic if he did. So he gets to a jewelry man and he custom makes something that's gonna have red, white, and blue as well as green and yellow in it for him to represent the US and also tie in her Brazilian background. And I just don't know what it's going to look like, and I'm excited to see what it is going to look like, you know. The jeweler looks like he's got something really fun in place, and he says that Juliana is very modest, so it's going to be something simple. So I want to see what this piece of jewelry looks like. And he only spent $4K on it, which I thought was reasonable for something that's custom made. It was a good price, you know. And they want to ask him how much money he's spent on her in total. Frankly, I don't think it's anybody's business. Like, I was hoping that he would not say that total, because then everybody would be jumping on her like, oh, you made him spend all this money on her, she's a gold digger. And like, I just don't like that narrative at all. The man is just as implicit in the gold diggery as the woman is, you know. Like, obviously she's offering him something, like her physical presence, her body and her being and her beautifulness, and he's returning it to her in kind with money so that she can take care of her family in Guyana, because that's what they keep on telling us, that she comes from some super poor place. And, you know, she's made some questionable choices, like why she bought a car when she's not planning on staying in Brazil very long. And I'm like, I can tell you why she bought a car. For her family. She bought them a car. I'm leaving. You guys need to have transportation. You know, what? All the fruits, the benefits that he is giving her, she is passing on down to her family. If you guys don't think that Michael is taking care of her mama and her sister, y'all don't understand what's going on. Juliana is buying things and using his car, making sure the family is well fed and well taken care of. She is spreading the wealth. It's not just her. It's the family. So that's why she bought a car. Now, the reason why she bought it on credit, who knows? She just doesn't understand, right? To her, it's money. She doesn't know what she's doing. He didn't explain it to her. He's just expecting her to make good decisions with money. She doesn't know what it is to have access to that kind of money, so that's why she's maxed the card out. That's the conversation that he had with her when she interrupted him conveniently while he was filming talking to the jeweler. Michael talks about the fact that he hasn't really spoken to his family about how much he's spending on her or the situation with him and Juliana. Mainly the only person that he's been communicating this to is his ex-wife because they're besties. He gets on the plane, he goes to Brazil, and once he touches down, he calls his ex-wife Sarah to let him know that he's there and that he's on his way to a hotel to meet her. So he meets her at the hotel and she opens the door like, I mean, just looking so refreshed and beautiful. When she opens that door, girl, like just like, and I wanted to go in and hug her too. Like, I was like, oh, what a beautiful sight. Like, she's just so beautiful. And she seems really sweet and really kind and genuine. And this is where it got weird for me. So he gets into the hotel and she's jumping on him, kissing him. At some point, she sits on his lap. And then he says, oh, you're so skinny. You haven't been eating. It's because when I'm not here, you don't eat well. When I'm here, you're a rich American. When I'm not here, you're a poor Brazilian girl. That whole statement was disgusting. 1. 2, I mean, it was just filled with so much privilege, so much like capery, like he's just like Captain Save-A-Ho, you know, just like, it was just loaded. And then the fact that she sat on his lap, honestly, he looks more like her dad than her lover or her partner. That is the dynamic between them. Like, and then you think back to the phone conversation that she had with him. Like, it's more so like she is his teenage daughter. And he, like, it doesn't, like, it, they, The dynamic between them does not feel like partnership. It feels like daddy and daughter in a weird, uncomfortable, inappropriate way. So now I'm weirded out by it. Poor Brazilian when I'm not here, and rich American when I am. So Juliana says in her confessional that she just wants to think positive about the situation with Michael. She's not going to think negative because her visa interview is coming up. You know, they've done everything. They've tried twice to get a tourist visa and been turned down twice because she has way too many stamps in her passport. They go together. They go in for the interview. I don't know if they're in the room together, but when they come out, Michael is so privileged, appalled at the way that the questioning went down that he's going to call his lawyer. I was like, are you Barbecue Betty right now? Becky, I'm gonna need you to sit down and stop being dramatic. They asked her questions based upon women who go and have been in Europe for yacht parties and shit, doing escort work. Juliana even talked about the fact that that does go on, but not her. So that is why she is being caught up in this. What is he going to tell his lawyer? What is the lawyer going to do? Is the lawyer going to file some petition for the consulate or the interviewer to apologize to Juliana? Because they asked her if she's done prostitution within the last 10 years. Girl, if the answer is no, just say no. They offended you? I'm sorry, princesa, lo siento. The way that Juliana has moved about the world for the last year and a half is gonna come under a lot of scrutiny. How does a poor girl from Guyana, Brazil, travel to Europe as much as she does? I'm sure those are the questions that the government is asking, which they're allowed to ask. You're trying to get, entry into the US, like it is what it is. Michael says that they have been working with his lawyer and the lawyer felt that the K-1 visa was the best option to get her into the US. Because Michael still doesn't even know if he wants to marry her. He doesn't know if she's going to be a good fit. That's why they tried to give tourist visas so many times so that they could figure that out. And then Juliana has her confessional where she talks about there might be another option. They could go live in another country together. So she was thinking about London, that they would just both go live in London. And he says that he has kids and he doesn't want to leave his kids, and that he didn't say that he would never do that and that's off the board, but he just said it would, there would be some hard choices to be made. And Juliana says that she doesn't know that Michael would choose her over his kids, and that made her cry, and that she knew she would probably have to break up with him. So I also love the way that Juliana says who she is. She's like, why would he give up on his kids for a stranger that he just met 2 years ago? It makes sense. Okay, so the next couple that we're gonna talk about is Robert and Anny. So Robert meets with his homeboy Juan, who is from the Dominican Republic. I don't know if he's like born there or like a Dominican Republic American, like I don't know. But anyways, Juan has a lot to say about Anny. that I feel is unfair and like putting down his sister. You know what I'm saying? They're at a bar and Robert just says that he wants to give his all to his lady. He wants her to come to the US and he wants to have a happy family with his lady. He wants to chill with her, he wants to drink with her, and he wants her to take care of Bryson. And Juan says, you know what? All Dominican women, that's a problem. All they want is the dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs. You're going over there to get a Dominican girl, and as soon as she gets here and gets her green card, she's gonna leave you. And Robert's like, no, I don't think that's it. And he's like, how do you know that? How do you know that? Based on just the conversations you've had? And he's like, yeah, that's not Annie. That's not how it's gonna be. And Juan is like, well, I hope you're right, but I know you're wrong. I'm just like, Juan, why are you like going against Dominican women like this? You know how hard it is. Like, you know what it is. Like, and Annie's hot. Like, Robert is lucky to have her. What? So then we have the next scene where Bryson and Robert are getting their apartment ready for Annie. And he's like, what are you going to say to Annie when she gets there? I'm going to say Happy Mother's Day. So for those of you who are mad at Anna bringing Mursel into her house with her 3 boys, I hope you are as equally upset at Robert for bringing Annie into his house to take care of his son. I hope you're equally as upset because it's the same situation. He doesn't know Annie from a hole in the wall. Okay, he met her for 8 hours and now he's bringing her into the US to be a mother to his son whom she does not know. Come with the same energy, sis. Bryson is obviously thinking that Annie's gonna be a mother to him, right? That is what Robert has set down for Bryson to believe. The next day, they go to the airport where Bryson has a meltdown because it takes her a long time to get through customs, as it will. He is upset on the ground, rolling around, just like mad because he really wants to see Annie. And this is also like a big deal for Robert too, right? So he's frustrated as well. Their whole family dynamic is about to change and neither of them really understand what that means. So then Annie gets there. Everyone is talking about her one-piece denim suit. I thought it was cute. So there's that. She gets there and Bryson runs up to her and hugs her and she says, oh, my baby, who's my baby? And hugs him and picks him up. And then Robert gets in there for a hug and he kind of feels like Bryson was in the way. And I'm just like, yeah, you should have had like somebody watch him, even though that would have been a chore within itself. It's a really great moment. He brings her flowers and she's happy and they get in the car and he can't take his eyes off of her. And then they get to the house and Bryson is falling asleep. So he puts Bryson in the bed full on with his clothes on, girl, and then like talks about how dirty his feet are and his legs, and I'm just like, you put that boy in the bed you about to get into and sleep? Oh, the shiver me timbers. I mean, I cannot. Bryson got up soon thereafter and was making a lot of ruckus. He put on Ninja Turtles and closed the door, and Annie's like, he doesn't have a bed? Where's my bed? And Robert in his confessional was like, Bryson sleeps with me. And so Bryson is gonna sleep in the bed with me and Annie. And I was like, no. It's been a year. It's been a year you and her have been talking and you haven't decided that you're gonna get at least another bed for Bryson? It's too much the fact that he's sleeping in the same room with you, but okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But a different bed at least. And that room looks like a man. I mean, it just looks so, oh, that room looks so sad. That room looks almost as sad as the room Emily is in Volgograd. Like, it's just, Emily's room in Volgograd is real sad too, you know? Girl, Annie's got a lot to deal with because she's like, I want to have a lot of sex with Robert. And it's been a whole year. I haven't had sex with anybody and I can't with Bryson in the bed. So this is ridiculous and annoying. And it just seems like Robert is not really about making any real space for her in his life. It feels like he just wants her to like dig a space. Like he just has all his shit on the ground and he's like, just make room for yourself. I'm not gonna clean this up, you know, because this is my house and my space. But if you want some space, just kindly move my things aside and slip in. And then, girl, we have scenes of the next episode where he takes her to the thrift store to go shopping. You know, I've just been seeing a lot of memes, people making fun of him, people comparing him to Caesar and Tariq, and I'm just like, don't do my boy Tariq like that. Don't do him like that. Robert is absolute ridiculousness on top of spam, okay? Ridiculousness on top of canned meat. Oh, low-key, Anny looks like Cardi B, like a first cousin, and Anny's mother and Cardi B's mother are twins or look a lot alike. Okay, so the next couple that we're gonna talk about is Emily and Sasha. Okay, you guys, so now we get into the nitty-gritty. Now we're really starting to see what Sasha was about. My sister told me that I needed to give Sasha a chance, and I did, and now it's very evident that he is just the trash bag that I thought he was. Their scene, they go to meet Masha, who is Sasha's first wife, who he married at age 22. I thought he married her when he was a teenager. Nope, he just married her 8 years ago. Oh no, 10 years ago, right? Because he's 32. The story that he tells us is that he got with her, they got married, they had a baby, and then she completely changed and became a crazy monster and he couldn't deal with it anymore. So he divorced her. And then he met his lovely brown-haired wife, whose face is blotted out. She didn't want to be in the show. And he met her, they got married, and then he started to become a personal trainer and work out and become like fit, and she wasn't into it. She didn't want that. That's not the kind of husband she wanted. She wanted a skinny, flabby husband. And she was like, I'm not into this lifestyle. So she divorced him. And then he met Anna in the gym, right? And now he's gonna marry Anna and they're pregnant as well. So I was really waiting to meet Masha because Masha is the mother of Daniel, who is the one who only allows Sasha to see him on holidays. So I was thinking that Masha was going to be a terrible, like crazy woman. And then we meet Masha. And Masha is trying to ask Emily questions, and Emily is asking Masha questions, and their translator is Sasha, who is translating the conversation slightly incorrectly to give the women two different ideas of what's being spoken about. I would say that he's even lying and twisting it for his own benefit, to basically make them not like each other so that they don't become friends and that Emily doesn't really understand what's going on. That's what it felt like to me. You would think that his goal would be to make them harmonious so everything would be easy, but no, he wants them at each other's throats. And it's very manipulative. When Masha has her confessional, Masha tells this story, that she married him and he cheated on her and came to her and said, I got somebody else pregnant and I want to be with her. So they divorced because he cheated on her, got his second wife pregnant, and then lived with the second wife. And then he was with the second wife, and then I don't know if she wanted to say cheated, but he started to fall in love with someone else. So he divorced his second wife to be with Emily. So all Masha was saying, and she made a really good analogy, something about the wind blowing and men going with the wind. She feels like the reason why he is with Emily is because Emily is his ticket out of Volograph and to the US. He's the one pushing for them to go to the US. Emily was willing to stay in Russia because he has 2 kids. But he's the one who says, no, there's better opportunity for me in the US, so let's go to the US. I'm like, why isn't there better opportunity for you in Moscow? Why not go to Moscow? Because you could do the same thing you do in Volgograd in Moscow, right? And that's what Masha is trying to say. Masha turns to Sasha and touches his arm and is just like, I don't want you to go. And Sasha is like, what do you mean? This is a better opportunity for me in the US. I can do better for the family. So you should allow Daniel to come and see us in the US or visit. And she's like, yeah, Daniel can go if he wants to go. I'm not going to stop him from going to the US. I'm not going to stop him from that opportunity of, getting dual citizenship or whatever, right? And there becomes this conversation between Emily and Masha about Daniel being safe or Daniel having family or something like that. And it's not even what Masha said at all. Like, it's just like so terrible to have him be the one when he's such a liar and manipulator. And when she watches this episode back, she's obviously going to see that he didn't tell the whole truth about the conversation. And Masha is pretty sure that once he's done with Emily, he'll move on to the next woman in the US. That he just doesn't care about his friends, his family. Like, nothing keeps him in one place. He keeps moving because he's incredibly selfish. Is he right? Does he only have his son on holidays? Or is that what he told Emily? That he technically could have his son more times a week, but he really doesn't want him. Any of his kids. And what's his relationship like with his second son? Because he says it's because he started working out. And I'm like, no, it's probably because you started working out and dating other women. The reason why you were just friends in the beginning is because you were married. Like, he's disgusting. I really wish the best for her and Daniel because Sasha is the trash bag I thought he was. So let's move on to our last couple. Anna and Mursel. Okay, so there's like, you know, there's a lot in this part. There is secrets and lies, there's Islamophobia, there's inappropriate conversation in front of kids, and there's just a woman who will not orchestrate or navigate any of these waters. She just sits back and lets it happen. Anna and Mursel are fresh out of the hotel. They're both very happy because they've had sex, even though they shouldn't. But that's one of the rules he chooses to break, right? So they get into the car. He's really excited because he's about to see the Purple Mountains Magistry. He's about to see all the things that he thought he was going to see in the US, the mountains, all the terrain. And it's a long ride from O'Hare to whatever part of Nebraska. I haven't done the math, but like, feels like it would be a long drive. So they leave in the morning and they get there when it's dark. And he's looking around left and right and he's like, where are the mountains? And she's like, no mountain, it's just flat plain. And he's just like, just corns and fields? Ugh, I'd rather be in Turkey. So we're already seeing that Mursel is a little bit like homesick. He's been there for like a night and he's already homesick. He's already like, can't handle the US. He's like, I'm disappointed there were no mountains. I was promised mountains. And then he puts on some Turkish music. And he's like, hey, la, 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 da, 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 da. And I was there with him. I was like, and Anna is just embarrassed. And I'm like, girl, you're in a car. No one's watching you but this GoPro on your windshield. Like, you can't even dance with him in the car? What? Why are you with this person? I mean, you couldn't give a little, like, just a little. I'm like, how are you embarrassed? She's like, well, he likes to dance a lot and it can be embarrassing. And I'm just like, oh girl, no. I'm like, they're just in this car for X amount of hours. Are they comfortable? Were they like passing gas in front of each other? These are things that I wanted to know. So they get to her house and she's worried about whether or not the boys did their chores. And like, you know, she's just got a nervous giggles and he's already just not impressed. He's just unimpressed already with the US. So they get into the house and he goes up to the boys and he's like, hello, Leo. Because in his mind, Leo is going to be his son. The other two, he's just going to be like an older brother to. He's not going to step in and try to be their dad because they're already basically grown. And so he's like, Leo. And then he goes up to Joey and shakes his hand and then tries to do like a traditional like hug where it's just like head. And Joey is not into it. In fact, he behaves as though the man is attacking him. And he's like, no. And, you know, like, obviously, Mursel doesn't understand boundaries or understand that the boy doesn't want to do it, so he shouldn't force him. Like, he doesn't get that. You know, I think culturally, it's like an adult wants to do this hug thing with you, you do it with them. You just have respect, and he's trying to get him to do it, and he doesn't want to do it. So then the other one, Gino, just comes up and gives him a hug. Gino understands what the man wants. So he gives him the hug and he does the head things. And I think they think he's going to kiss them on the side of the cheek. Like, it's just uncomfortable. There's no conversation. And then Anna doesn't stop it at all. She doesn't say, hey guys, like, this is what he wants to do. And then do an example. She doesn't do anything. She just lets it be weird. So then they're like, hey, do you like pizza? And he's like, yeah, I like pizza. And so whatever his version of pizza is doesn't taste like what their version of pizza is. And they have like a moment where they're passing the phone around, trying to talk to each other. And I just think in the translation and in the cultural differences, a lot of things get lost. He ends up insulting them with the pizza. I mean, they act like okay. Like, what it is that Mursel is being like what an American is when an American goes abroad, okay? Mursel is comparing everything in the country that he's currently in to the country that he came from, which is exactly what every American does when they go abroad. And so, obviously, the people there are offended. especially the boys, because I guess they love that pizza, which they did not make themselves. I don't know if it was store-bought. I don't know if it was DiGiorno. I don't know if it was from the pizzeria. I don't know. But they feel some kind of way, because he even says, no, it's bad. Here, Gino, take this and put this away. He doesn't want it. Because I'm pretty sure that Turkish pizza isn't this bastardized Italian pizza that we eat here in the US. Okay? Also, I don't like all the kinds of US pizza. You know what my favorite pizza is? My absolute favorite? Pizza Hut. It is. It just is. It's delicious. It's the best pizza ever. Delicious, done. But yours could be Mod Pizza. Yours could be Blaze. Yours could be Domino's. Yours could be Gino's Italian Pizzeria around the corner. I don't care, right? So I feel like he's going to get a lot of flack from that. And so I'm just kind of preemptively defending Mursel because he's just behaving like an American would if American was abroad. If American were abroad. So they try to get him to play video games. He makes some sort of judgment and comment on that. You know, the kids playing video games all day isn't good. And I mean, it's inappropriate. It is. Because he's immediately very judgy. And that's how you know that he doesn't really want to be in the US. Like, he's not going to do well in the US at all. He's already finding fault in too many things. And the boys are picking up on that. And like, they even think that he thinks that houses in Turkey are better. So I don't know if he made some sort of comment about the house, but I felt like if he did, that was way inappropriate. Like, he needs to like keep his opinions to himself. Anny is literally doing nothing to orchestrate this. She's not peacekeeping. She's just letting the pieces fall where they may and just sinking into that couch. Like, just sinking into it. And then she says, well, I hope the boys would have given him a chance, but you know, Joey was going pretty hard. And I'm like, yeah, and you didn't stop Joey. There's that, Mursel. You're not going to have any support from her. She's just going to let everybody in her life attack you and then feel awkward and not say anything. So speaking of that, let's go to the next section. So the next segment is her mother, Gino, and Mursel going to like have nachos at some place. Anna is ill-prepared for this meeting as well with her mother, Charlene. So Charlene is a little late, and they get there, and they order nachos, and Anny lets Mursel eat pork because there's bacon on those nachos. And when he asks her if it's pork, she says no. Lets the man full on eats pork. Yes. So anyways, what's happening is that we've discovered two things. One, Mursel can't tell his parents that Anny has kids because in Turkey, for a woman to have kids and then be unmarried is very odd. I guess they're very strictly traditional. He's 38 years old. And so he's keeping the secret from his family because he loves Anna. Anna's not explaining any of this to her mother, right? And her mother, when she first gets there, is like seeming like she's very excited to meet Mursel, right? Let me go back. So she gets there, she shakes his hand, and he's so excited. He didn't even know the mother was going to be there. He didn't know her mother was going to be there at all. So he's shocked. He shakes her hand, gets up, and she's like, well, what do you got there around your neck? You know, he's wearing like a big scarf. And he's like, oh, it's for the sun, like to stop, you know, burning here and then to tie on my head. And he like shows it and they're all like slightly embarrassed. And I'm just like, well, I guess they are in Nebraska and they're not used to anything different or something because it's just so dumb. Like, it's embarrassing for me to watch her be embarrassed. Like, what did she expect? That he was just going to strip himself of his culture and just come here and like fit in like an American? You know I don't like it. You know it bothers me. The mother orders a beer and Anna's like, you're gonna get a beer? Because she's like, I want a beer because I'm so anxious right now. And then she turns to him and she's like, can I have a beer? And he's like, beer? No. And I don't know if he understood that she was asking for herself. I don't know if he thought that she was asking if he wanted. My thing is, why even ask him? Just order the bloody beer, girl. Like, order it. You're a grown woman. If you don't care about him being strict with alcohol, then just order the beer. So then her mother uses this moment to pull up all of her crazy ideals about Turkey. And then says, are you going to stone my daughter if she drinks a beer? And then translates it. And he looks at it confused and he's like, no, why would I do that? Please don't stone Anna. And all I can think of is like, how did Anna just let her mother have these crazy ideas about Turkey? I mean, she just went on the internet and pulled up the worst thing she could find about Turkey. And then they talk about the fact that his family doesn't want him to be with someone who has 3 kids. And Gino is feeling some type of way. And Anna says, well, he asked me if I would move to Turkey, but I told him that I couldn't because of my kids. And so then he decided to move to the US. So now everyone's up in a ruckus because he would even ask her to leave the kids. And I'm like, you don't even know if he asked her to move to Turkey before or after he knew she had kids. Did they actually have a conversation where he said, leave your kids behind and move to Turkey? I don't think so. And if so, I need to know that. Who's to say that she didn't hide the fact that she had 3 kids from him from the beginning? We don't know. People do it all the time. People do leave their kids with their families while they go off and have a new life. It happens. So maybe he's used to that. So now Gino feels like he doesn't know if his mother would have actually left them. I mean, he was already abandoned by his father. And that's why in the beginning, she said that he's very sensitive and she has to be careful what she says in front of him. And I know he's going to run back and tell Joey, and then Joey's going to come up with, it's just going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess, and it's all Anna's fault. And then Charlene asks, with the translator app, tells Gino, to type in the translator app and says, ask him if his parents do decree that they don't want him to marry Anna because of the kids, will he leave Anna? And he looks at it and he reads it and he looks at Anna and he says, maybe. And Anna just has a tear and starts to cry. And he's like, yeah, I might leave. If my parents do find out about you, or if this is too hard, or if whatever, if I'm gonna lose my family, I won't do that. I will probably go home. Yeah, girl, you just wasted all your money and your time with this K1 visa for somebody who isn't even sure if he really wants to come here and do this with you. And you know why? Because you guys have not had a real conversation, because his English isn't enough and your Turkish isn't enough and your translator apps are trash. So, all right, you guys, so that is the end of this episode. I hope that the other 2 couples that we haven't met bring some kind of fun to this, you know, so it isn't just like people making poor decisions and us watching and judging them while their kids judge and watch as well. Let's have a kiki and a conversation down in the comment section about this episode. Let me know what you guys thought. If I got something wrong, if you guys saw something I didn't see, and I will see you in the next video. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.